DraftSociety.com presents a Premier League Draft Fantasy Podcast. Welcome to the Key Pass Collective. Your exclusive source for the information, analysis, and advice you need to dominate your fantasy leagues. Come on in. We've been expecting you.
Draft heads, ho ho ho. How is it going? Merry Christmas, everybody, and happiest of holidays if you celebrate anything other than Christmas. Just here for the season. Oh, it's beautiful. You probably weren't expecting a Christmas pod. Merry Christmas, I suppose. This is your present. For some of you. Some of you are like, why are you bothering me on Christmas with a notification about your podcast? Anyway, what I want to do today is just kind of run through the games real quick, give you kind of just a very quick overview. I'm not going to belabor anything here. It is just me. And we're going to talk through some of maybe your streamers for this week, because Boxing Day is right around the corner, literally tomorrow. So I want to get this out to you ASAP. I want to just, give you some potential thoughts on some streamers and some, I don't know, maybe some advice ahead of this Boxing Day. So first things first, welcome into the Key Pass Collective. We are, of course, a product of, we are, of course, the audio companion to the Draft Society website. Check out the Draft Society for everything you possibly could need when it comes to dominating this draft fantasy football game. Aside from that, do check out the Perfect 11 that we have going for Boxing Day. There's time to sign up for it yet. You can find out about it on Discord. You can get it on Twitter. You can get it on Blue Sky. The link to sign up for our Boxing Day Perfect 11. Basically, you can pick any player you want. Your goal is just to score the highest amount of points. You can pick any player you want. So go check it out. There are no restrictions. It's not like the FPL game where you have a budget. Your goal is to score the most possible points that you can. So just do it. It's fun. It's a little competition. You can see everyone else's score as you go along. It's pretty great. So check that out. And obviously there are prizes in it for the winner as well. So yeah, you still got time to do that. Hit that up before the game tomorrow. All right. Like I said, we're going to just roll through some things real quick. So speaking of the games, let me pull up a little bit of, let me pull up here. I'm going to pull up what you can find on our website, which are our predicted 11s. We've got these every game week. We publish predicted 11s for free. So we got predicted lineups on there completely for free. And then there are player projections as well that you can, if you are part of the inner circle, that you have access to for each of these predicted players. So all of the players that we predict to start, we've got predicted or projected point totals as well for them. So you can check those out on the website, of course, under the inner circle section if you are willing to subscribe and support our independent fantasy football podcast. But we're going to talk through some of those today and go through the games. So without any further ado, let's just kind of look at the slate for this upcoming game week. Man City and Everton kick it off bright and early for some of us at lunch. Some of us, we get to wake up to football, and I just love that. So as far as this game is concerned, Everton have had a really rough run of fixtures, and you wouldn't know it looking at players' scores like, James Tarkowski. I think that comes to an end, unfortunately. I think that Manchester City this is going to be kind of a get-right game for them. I have not started Tarkowski to my chagrin over the last couple of weeks, but unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and bench him again for this one. We've got him projected. Draft Lad has him projected for like 3 points. I know it's been a run of clean sheets for them. Wolves maybe expected, sure. But then Arsenal and Chelsea, nobody saw that coming. I don't think that happens tomorrow. I think that Man City probably score I don't know that it's going to be 5-6, but I think they're probably going to score 1 to 2 goals. I think your Everton defenders will put up a decent. I don't know, a decent fight, but I don't think that their fantasy scores are going to be anything to write home about. When we look at our predicted lineups here for Manchester City, I think you're starting most of these guys. I'm not interested in Kovacic, but if indeed we have Savio, Holland, Foden, De Bruyne, and Doku out there, you're rolling all of them out. Yeah, be careful with City defenders. You know this by now. Be careful with City defenders. This could be a week potentially where you could do that. Dwight McNeil looks to still be injured. And so for Everton, where are the goals coming from? But players like Akanji, Nathan Ake, Kyle Walker, to be careful with these guys. You are banking on a clean sheet. So if you're willing to do that, then go for it. Josko Gvardiol is basically set and forget in your lineup because he's a goal threat. But everyone else, aside from Kovacic, yes, I'm absolutely rolling them out if they play. Let's look at the Everton side. Yeah, we've got Calvert-Lewin up front. Who's creating for him? Iliman Jai has been up and down. No, thank you. Clearly, we're not starting Mangala, Idrissa Gueye, Jesper Lindstrom, or Doucouré. They have scored like dog shit this season, so we're not doing that. And then I just mentioned the defenders. If you're brave, you could trot out a Branthwaite or a Tarkovsky. That's going to probably wrap up this game. Pickford actually could be a decent start because he'll have a lot of saves to make. But yeah, again, that's being brave. So I think that about wraps up that game. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot else to share there. All right. Up then for us in the Eastern time zone here in the U.S., it's the 10 o'clock window. But yeah, for the late afternoon window, we kick it off with Bournemouth Palace. Then there's also Chelsea Fulham, Newcastle Villa, Forest and Spurs, and Southampton West Ham. So that is... Southampton are at home for that one, but yeah, still the worst team in the league, certainly. So let's kick it off. Bournemouth Crystal Palace. There's a chance that Eze is back for this one, but yeah, that's not etched in stone clearly. So we're still a little bit nervous when it comes to that one. 1 second here. Let me sort this by team, our projections that is, and then I can more easily go to each team. All right. So as far as the Bournemouth game is concerned, if you read Sanjy's Sleepers 11 article that is also going to be published today on Christmas, you will read that they have been performing quite well. Especially their defenders have been performing quite well. Their attackers clearly as well. We've been starting them all season. So if it's one of those kind of things, like Ryan Christie, Lewis Cook, when they start, they're mid threes and they are about as dependable as the sun rising and setting. Like you're looking for 8-9 points, usually minimum. But then someone like a Ryan Christie can surprise you with 15 or 20 on a good day. So yeah, you're definitely trotting them out. Let's go back to our predicted lineups here. We can look at Bournemouth quick. So when you look at players, like Zabarnyi, like Kirkez, like Dean Howson, these are all players that you potentially could start. Crystal Palace don't appear to be scoring many goals, and in this one, I think it's probably going to be the same. Bournemouth have been surprisingly stout defensively recently. So, yeah, I think they probably continue that. Crystal Palace has had a decent run of form lately, but like they're kind of turning things around. But I don't know that that's going to equate to a lot of goals. So maybe, again, one, I could see them scoring. But especially without Eza, it's going to be tough sledding. Semenyo, trotting him out if he starts. Dango has been lights out. Also features in Sanjy's article. Definitely check him out. Even Tyler Adams is worth a punt if he's out there. He can score with a decent floor in points. And then Evan Nilsson, you know how he goes. you're hoping for a goal, and a lot of times you get it just randomly, whether it's a penalty kick or something else. And obviously, there's a weird. Sometimes most of the time you have Kluivert if you're taking a penalty kick, but sometimes Evan Nielsen, depending. It's a strange team, but they're good for points. Lately, at least, they've been good for a handful of fantasy points. So, I mean, I think honestly at this point you could probably trot out most of these guys and feel pretty good about it. Especially in a league where maybe you need some streamers, there'll be some of these available. Let's look at the Crystal Palace side of things. All right. As far as the defense goes, I'm nervous in this one, certainly. I'm not probably trusting the likes of Mitchell. Chalobah has been good. He's been ghosting well. I think you can probably trust him. You're probably not getting a clean sheet out of this one, but he's been ghosting okay. And, of course, Munoz, I mean, he is – I can't remember exactly, but maybe the third highest scoring defender this season. It helps that I traded him out, so you're welcome, everybody. Gahey, LaCroix, those guys are streamers at best. If you're really, really in a tough spot, sure, but this match is away, and so I'm not loving that as well. As far as Doucouré is concerned, no. Will Hughes actually, Will Hughes is kind of a sleeper, if I'm being completely honest. Will Hughes is a strange one. He's getting a lot of set pieces, which you wouldn't have expected. Now, if Eza's back, that could change things. We have him projected to be back. I've seen mixed results on that one. I've seen mixed predictions on Eza's availability for this match. Mateta, you're hoping for a score. If he doesn't, you're going to be upset. And then Ismail Assar, absolutely roll him out. He's been lights out recently. That's a definite go. Ismail Assar is in the best form of his life. You're for sure rolling him out just based on current form. I think that probably wraps it up with this matchup. This could actually be a fun one if Crystal Palace show up. If Crystal Palace show up, this could be a fun one. Otherwise, I'm expecting most of the traffic to be going from the Bournemouth toward Crystal Palace goal. But you never know. They could surprise us. And Sarr, at least recently, has kind of nicked some cheeky goals. So that could be a fun one. All right, I mentioned Chelsea and Fulham. This will actually be a hard-fought match. Fulham have been struggling a little bit recently. I expect that to continue in this match. Chelsea will be upset after being held to a clean sheet against Everton. So I certainly do expect Chelsea to bounce back a little bit in this one. And like I said, Fulham have been struggling for form. Yeah, so as far as their defenders are concerned, I don't love any of them. This, of course, being away at Chelsea, so that's a rough one. I literally dropped Diop this morning because he was on my team from last week, which was a good call, but only barely. I was clearly playing for the clean sheet and got it. Castagna, I don't love. Bassi, I don't love. Robinson, of course, he's set and forget. You're never dropping him from your lineup ever. And so that brings us to the midfield and the forwards. Yeah, I mean, Raul Jimenez looks like to be back in the squad. We're projecting Adama with the start. Anytime Adama starts, you want to roll him out. I know he struggled recently, not just for availability, but even for form. So, yeah, but you guys know he's a draft legend. You just, with the dribbles, with the crosses, with the, you got to start him if he's out there and hope for the best. Raul, you're hoping for a goal. He's also been really struggling for form. I've seen him dropped a lot of places. I can understand it completely. You probably feel like a little bit of a weight is off your shoulders after you dropped him. That's what Sanjy told me. And I totally get that. I would not stream him in this one. Even if you're looking for a forward, I think there are better options you can find elsewhere. Kearney, I'm avoiding, and then Pereira and Iwobi, I think, are probably starts as like mid. I mean, Iwobi's usually a mid 1, but he's probably going to perform as a mid 2 this week, and then Pereira's going to be more like a mid 3. Prepare for him to be subbed pretty early if you do insist on trotting him out. So, yeah, be careful with this one. Fulham struggling for form, and I don't see it. I don't see that ship being righted at the bridge either. So, unfortunately, I think Chelsea probably nick this one. maybe 2-1, something like that. And I can't predict exactly on the Fulham side where that goal comes from, but I just don't know that Chelsea keep a clean sheet, although they have a decent shot of doing it. As far as those Chelsea players are concerned, okay. In defense, you could do worse than a lot of these players. Again, Fulham been struggling, so yeah, I mean they're decent streamers. Tosin also features in Sanjy's article. Could be a decent call there. Malo Gusto pops up with an attacking return here and there, so sure. I think as far as the rest of the players are concerned, we are pegging Nkunku for a start, which I think is bold. Obviously, Joao Felix as well. A bold call there. But again, we're in the festive season. Games are coming thick and fast. And so, sure. I just think basically whoever starts in the mid or the forward positions in this one, as with most Chelsea matches, there's goals there to be had. And so you're starting them. Sometimes you're going to be disappointed. Sometimes they're going to get subbed early, but that just is what it is. So if you can go out there and pick up Nkunku or Felix at this point, just to stash them, this is one of the earlier games. And so there's still time to drop and pivot from there. So I like that. I like these Chelsea players. I like what they've been doing. Defensively, I'm a little bit nervous, but yeah, for the most part, I think you're basically starting most of your Chelsea assets. Enzo's been on fire. What a player. He's been awesome. After being a laughingstock kind of early in the season and playing into a lot of those, look what you paid for, how much money is this guy, kind of narratives, he's really been delivering recently. So that's been good to see. All right, Newcastle Villa. Oh, yikes. And this one's at St. James. Man, this could be a tough one, honestly. This could be a really, really tough match. Let's start with the Villa side. Away at Newcastle. Oh, God. This is one of those where I'm not loving probably any of these players. Newcastle have been in good form recently. They have been conceding fewer goals. Villa have been interesting. There's points coming from places that you just did not expect. I'm surprised to see us saying that Duran is going to be benched. I mean, he has been stellar. But, again, festive season, fixture congestion. So, sure. I'm not starting any of these defenders, I don't think, unless maybe I need to roll out Digne if I'm hemmed up in other places, or I don't know. If you have to start one, I guess you could start Digne. Everybody else, absolutely not. Even Emi Martinez, there are games where he gets a lot of saves and ghosts a lot, but I don't know that this will be one of them. Alexander Isak's in the form of his life. Newcastle scoring goals. I don't love it. Villa away. I mean, yeah, this is where, McGinn's been good recently. Rodgers has been good recently. I could see both of them blanking. I could see them getting 3 points in this game and getting subbed off pretty early in the case of Rodgers. He is one of the most frustrating players. If you need convincing about that, just talk to Ryan Barnes. He absolutely hates rostering Rodgers, even though, as we looked last week, Rodgers literally the 15th ranked midfielder. And that probably went up from last week. The 15th ranked midfielder on the season. But look at his numbers. He's got games where he scores you 2, 1.5. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, he's very, very, very return dependent. And so, yeah, all things considered, I'm probably benching him. I know McGinn's been in great form recently. Sure, you could try to play off of that and trot him out. Okay. Tielemans has been ghosting well this season. I think he's set and forget, probably a mid 2. And then Ollie Watkins, you drafted him to be your forward 1. So I think you gotta hope he delivers. Yeah. If Duran's out there, sure, start him. Again, he's probably your forward 3 at this point. You probably got him off the waiver wire. And so you kind of know what you're expecting from him. But of course, with the form that he's been in, yeah, I think you trot him out. I think that he, they're always good for some goals on the break. They're always good for some some cheeky little goals to get in there, and Watkins / Duran sort of duo is good for some speed up there. So yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. But Villa, you pretty much know what to expect, I think, from them. Guys like Onana, Kamara, no, you're not doing that. And then, of course, Torres, Konza, you know that they don't ghost for anything. You're hoping for clean sheets with them, and I don't think this is the place to find it. All right, Newcastle, on the other hand, their defenders have struggled, and especially struggled for consistency. You haven't found it there. I probably wouldn't hope for any clean sheets this match. I don't have the odds in front of me, but they can't be high. Bruno Guimaraes, Jacob Murphy has been in the form of his life since we recommended him a few weeks ago. Again, to my chagrin, just because he's one of those players I can't stand. You know, like if he does not score, he's a Morgan Rogers. He doesn't get you shit. But when he does, man, he's actually pretty decent. We are touting Joe Willock for a start here. He's a never again for me. I'm not doing it. You're certainly welcome to. Again, one of those goal dependent guys. Yeah, you know what you're getting yourself into. Could get subbed early. May not even start. But luckily, again, early matchups, pick him up now. I mean, if he starts and you need a midfielder, sure, go for it. Just know that you could be settling for, 1.5 and an early sub off. Alexander Isak is set and forget. You're never taking him out of your lineup, especially with the form that he's been in recently. Okay, moving right along, we've got Nottingham Forest and Spurs, fresh off their dismantling from Liverpool. Spurs are, however, scoring goals. Now, I know they're away at this one, and it's never fun to go away to Forest. That is a lion's pit. But Spurs will score a couple here. Spurs will definitely score a couple. Forest will keep it close. I think that if we look at, let's look at Spurs first, because, they're kind of the more, if you want to say dependable, at least in terms of, I'm talking offensively, dependable team. So Madison is in your lineup. Kulusevski's in your lineup, obviously. Archie Gray, absolutely not. Pape Sarr, you're hoping for a miracle. Sometimes he does pop up with one. I wouldn't do it. Dominic Solanke, at this point, he's a forward too, usually at best. And Forrest, surprisingly defensively solid. God, you can't bench him though, can you? Oh, that is a situation I am really glad I have no part of. I don't like it. I don't like it. Actually, let me pull up his numbers real quick. Solanke, 12.1 points per game, which I'm actually surprised to see. Yeah, man, you're hoping for goals. Let's see. He had an assist against City and scored 11. Ipswich, he scored 9 and did nothing, which is actually, that's encouraging. Yeah, okay. He's in for you. He's been in good form. Goal and an assist against Liverpool. He had 6.5 against Southampton and had neither a goal nor an assist, which, again, that's encouraging. So, okay, ghosting, okay. Yeah, toss him in. Brennan Johnson, we're touting for a start here. Brennan Johnson, when he starts, is usually pretty lively. I like him. Son is set and forget as much as you hate it sometimes because he's had a rough year. He's had a tough go of it. Let's see what he's been up to recently. Hold on. Madison comes up, of course, first. I have to scroll so far just to find Son Heung-min. All right, here he is. 0.5 in 81 minutes against Liverpool. That is brutal. 3.5 against Bournemouth, 3 against Fulham, and then a couple of decent ones in between there against Chelsea and Southampton. Yeah, you know what you're getting into. This is you drafted him as your forward one. You gotta do it. Unfortunately, yeah. Away at Forest is not a great matchup. know what you're getting yourself into. Son could underwhelm again. He could get you your 3, but he could also get you 34 like he did a couple weeks ago. So, yep, you're gonna just hope that the magical Christmas fairy or Krampus delivers you something other than a pile of coal. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the Forest side of the ball. Okay. Let's see. Interestingly enough, our projections really like some of these Forest defenders. Yeah. Hold on one second. I'm just gonna pull up those said projections. So again, these are usually for our inner circle members, but yeah, I'm just gonna share some of those with you. Let's see. We have we have Nico Williams projected for 6.7. Ghost points 7.7, which means that we are also not projecting a clean sheet here. Like I said, I think I think Spurs nick a couple. Yeah. Huh. Moreno, 5.7. I mean, I think this is an avoid. Y'all. I don't love it. I think this is an avoid. I think maybe Milinkovic, you're trotting out as your defender 3 because he's gotten you here. So why would you stop now? But the rest of them, no, thank you. Anderson is a go. Gibbs White is a go. He's been in great form recently. Yatesy, no thanks, not for me. Anthony Alanga is one of those if you're desperate. I don't roster him anywhere, but let's just see what he's been up to. Yeah, he's in good form, but he has also been scoring goals. 10.5 with a goal against Villa. For those not doing the math, for those who are driving and you don't have your abacus out right now, a goal is 11 points. So because you have the shot on target as well. So yeah, 10.5 with a goal is bad. He also scored 14.75 with a goal against Brentford. So you're hoping for a goal and you're only hoping for a goal. He's going to do nothing else for you. It's risky. Certainly Tottenham, though, man, that defense is non-existent. So they are as wide open as, I don't know, I was going to make a dirty joke. I'm not going to do it. The screen door in the summer, as wide open as the screen door in the summer. There we go. So Callum Hudson-Odoi and Chris Wood are both in your lineups. You're not dropping them because they've been fantastic. At least, I mean, Chris Wood, God, we say it all the time, but what a player, what a draft pick this season. He's just been incredible, and what a value for those of you who got him or who even picked him up once the season started off the waiver wire. What an incredible value he's been as a forward. Just scoring like a forward 1, mid borderline 1 to 2. But you got him so late in drafts or for free off the waiver wire. What a player. Love him. Okay. Long may he reign. All right. Moving along. We are talking Southampton, West Ham. Southampton is the worst team in the league. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's true. The worst team in the league. And so, that being the case, we probably won't spend much time on that side of the ball. Let's look at West Ham. Also have been underwhelming, clearly. But when you look at players like Wan-Bissaka and Gilman, they've been scoring like defender 2s. They're not going to get you those marquee numbers like an Anthony Robinson. But God, especially Gilman, he's been incredible. Why would you sit them in this? In fact, Emerson also features heavily in Sanjy's article. He says, he's probably out there on the waiver wire. Why would you not grab him against the worst team in the league? Yes, they're away, but at the same time, there's a decent chance for a clean sheet. Plus, Emerson does contribute on some attacking returns, here and again, and also is on some set pieces. So, yeah, I like that. Jean-Claire Todibo, I don't think I would go that far. He's 3.54 fantasy points per game. I'm not gonna. Yeah, no, thank you, not for me. But Emerson could be in worth a shout. Okay, moving into the rest of the field, I think you're starting basically everyone else. Even somebody like a Suchek could be decent for this matchup. Draft Lad, it looks like thinking that Somerville's going to get a start. If you're brave, sure, I guess, if you're brave. But of course, your Bowens, Kudus, you know, I don't know, Soler and Rodriguez, probably not for me. But yeah, they could be worth. You know what? No, I take it back. No, neither of them for me. Neither of them. Soler, just double checking. Soler has done absolutely nothing aside from a few random starts. I guess he got 9 against Leicester, and he's always getting subbed off. Always getting subbed off early. No, thank you, not for me. Okay. So that leaves us with, potentially Suchek could pop up with a goal, get some decent defensive mid numbers as well to kind of prop up his floor. And Somerville, if he does get the start, sure, I guess, trot him out. Why not? Yeah. Okay. And then we move over to the other side of the ball with Southampton, who I mentioned are at home. Oh, Lord. I mean, this will be fun. Let's see what Fantrax projects, said the Southampton players. Because for those who are listening, you know that Fantrax projections are famously terrible. They're overestimating almost every single player's value, and are very rarely dependable. And let's see if they differ in terms of the players they're projecting to start. We have Ramsdale, Wood, Harwood Bellis, Kyle Walker-Peters, Sugawara, Dibbling, Ugochukwu, Mateus Fernandez, Flynn Downs, and Big Boy Onuachu up front. They are projecting Archer for a start. They're projecting Bednarek for a start. And Armstrong as well. Ooh, interesting. Okay. They love Ryan Manning, projecting him at 12.66, and they love Mateus Fernandez. I would potentially, you could potentially start Fernandez as a mid 4. The matchup is fine. West Ham have been not great, not terrible, honestly, either. I mean, they sort of have turned things around from a few weeks ago when they were really struggling, right? And so their recent form has been okay. Yeah, I mean, ever since that Wolves match, 2-1, and then 1-1 draws against Brighton and Bournemouth, which are both decent teams. I mean, they probably were happy to come away with those score lines. Yeah, they've been okay. I don't love any Southampton players. Ryan Barnes, you all know, if you listen to this often, he's usually on here with me. He's got a rule this season that he just doesn't start Southampton players, and I can get behind that as well. Yeah, I don't know why you would. I guess if you have to, somebody like a Mateus Fernandez. Let's just move on, shall we? You could do worse than some of these players, but West Ham could put 2 or 3 past them. I don't love it. Yeah. Even Onuachu, if you're desperate, I guess he could get you a few points. But also don't love that. Let's see what we have him projected at. Big Paul, where you at, Paul? Paul, we have him projected for 61 minutes and 8.3 fantasy points, 6.0 of them being ghosts. Yeah, and that's going to be, that's going to come from all of his being tallness on display. So that'll be your aerial duels for the most part. potentially some shots on target, probably from his head. I don't know. Hold up play, that kind of stuff. Yeah, Big Paul, I guess, if you need a forward three, that could be a place to look. But I'm not officially recommending it, let's say. I think that's kind of one of those, if you are stuck. Yeah. All right, moving on to Wolves, who are playing host to Manchester United, who are also struggling for form. This could be a get-right game for Manchester United, although, I think that Wolves will have plenty of, I don't know about attacking prowess, but they'll have opportunities certainly in this game. We are projecting Semedo, Totti, Doherty, and Santiago Bueno in the back. Semedo and Doherty, probably the only two of those that you're even gambling on for this one, but I will let you know that while I'm holding Semedo in my leagues, I have benched him in the leagues where I have him, just because there's other options that are much better. We've already talked about some of those West Ham options versus Southampton. We talked about some of those Bournemouth options versus Crystal Palace. I would even potentially go a City defender against Everton, but I don't know. Yeah, anyway, you just know that you're taking your life into your own hands if you do start a Wolves defender in this one. I don't love it. Let's see. In fact, let's check and see what we've got them in terms of projections. One second. Sorry, this is really good radio here. All right, I'm going to sort by team, and then I'm going to sort by projected points from 9 to 1. Okay, here we go. So Wolves, our projections, love Cunha. Like Guedes, you could say. They like 9.3, 7.2 Ghosts. They like Lamina. They're so-so on Jurgen Strand Larson, and then everybody else is sort of take it or leave it. So, yeah, when it comes to the defenders, Doherty projected for 3.5, Semedo projected for 3.5. Yep, it's as we feared. And that's cool to see the projections back that up. That's actually really neat. So, yeah, my gut, the numbers are sort of backing that up. At least the algorithm that Draft Lad and Robbie used to sort of project these numbers, they're backing us up. So yeah, you're probably staying away from Wolves defenders if you can. Somebody like a Semedo or a Doherty, maybe you're hoping for an attacking return, sure, but yeah, I think this is a get right game for United, as I mentioned. Love Fernandez, love Diallo, even Garnacho. He's not going to ghost a lot, but if he gets the start, he could be in for some attacking returns. He's borderline for me. Everybody else is a potential pitfall. I'd be nervous about it. Yeah, I'd be quite nervous. Rashford may get a start in this one. Let's see. Actually, who do we have for? Let's go back to the projections here. As you can see on the screen, I've just been leaving them up the whole time. You don't need to see me in my Packers hat. So, yeah, we've got Delo, Martinez, Maguire, and Yoro in the back. We've got Ugarte, who you're never starting again. He's proven that he is nothing in this fantasy game, so don't do it to yourself. Hoyland, yeah, if you're desperate as a forward three. Kobe Mainu, probably not. He just has been really disappointing this season, and as far as the fantasy game is concerned, I'm probably not doing it personally. Yeah, I guess he did have 9 against Bournemouth, but I don't see Wolves putting up as much of a fight in this one and him having as much defensive work to do. And I don't think he's going to contribute attacking returns. Diallo, of course, is a yes. Garnacho, if he goes, sure. And then the defense. This is at Molyneux. Delo has been so bad. I project, man, that's one of my worst calls. I thought he was going to come good under Amarim. I really did, and he just hasn't. Wolves don't do a ton of crossing. They kind of work things through the middle. A lot of it involves Cunha, who, by the way, has not been contacted by the FA. So it looks like Cunha's in for a start, which is amazing. So all you Cunha managers, roll him out until we hear otherwise. I mean, I don't expect them to contact the team on Christmas, so I think he'll be out there tomorrow. Yeah, I think we've covered everything here. Garnacho, if you want upside, he's upside. Garnacho is upside, but he's also a low floor, so just be aware of that. Somebody like a Mazraoui, sure, I guess, but defenders have been really, really bad for Amorim. The numbers for the draft game been really bad. So yeah. All right. Finally, Liverpool-Leicester. We were joking for Perfect 11. We were joking, I wonder if anybody's going to sign up for Perfect 11 and just trot out an entire Liverpool stack. I mean, it's interesting. This is at Anfield. And it's against Leicester. It's the final game of the week. So there are a couple of strange kind of lineup calls. Are you going to hold out for this Liverpool game in hopes that XYZ player starts and then have them either not start or not deliver? Famously, guys like McAllister, Gravenberch to a certain extent, although he's at a decent floor, but we are projecting Curtis Jones for a start. These are all guys that can be pitfalls. And so, yeah, that's a question. We are projecting Diogo Jota to start. We're projecting Nunez to start. I mean, presumably off of the back of that game where they didn't. And so now we're kind of projecting, all right, Slot's going to sort of rotate in some Jota. He's going to get some Nunez in there. This is not a science. Okay, this is Draft Lad just calling his shot. And he's right a lot of the times, but not always. None of us can be. And so this is a gamble. But here's the thing, y'all. If you start a Cody Gakpo in this one, he could be good for points off the bench. He really could. And so when you're thinking about a player like, Nunez, and then you're between Nunez and let's go back through some of those forward three options we talked about, right? Somebody like an Onuachu, somebody like not a Willock, but it's the same conversation, right, that we're having. Somebody like an Elanga. Would you rather start Nunez for 30 minutes against Leicester or Elanga? Right? I mean, the conversation's there to be had. And so that being the case, right, I'm not saying that Leicester are definitely improved. They are improved since the departure of the manager. But this is at home. Liverpool have just been out of sight for most teams, unplayable for most teams. And so I think there'll be 3 goals in this one for Liverpool, maybe more. And that being the case, yeah, I don't hate the idea of starting somebody like, if Jota doesn't start in this one, I would roll him out over, hell, I might roll him out over somebody like a Højlund. Yeah, this is one of those games. This is one of those games where Slot could make some changes and the floodgates have already been opened and they just continue scoring. Yeah, I mean, I think it could certainly happen. So anyway, Liverpool attackers are a go. Absolutely. It's just a gamble as to whether or not they're potentially will start. You could, if you have, let's say you have Szoboszlai, who's been in great form. If you have him, maybe pick up a Curtis Jones just to have that backup, just in case, as we're projecting, Szoboszlai is benched for this, right? Just in case. So yeah, if you have a McAllister, maybe you could also pick up Jones. You could, I don't know. Who is Fantrax projecting to start for Liverpool? It's probably the same old, same old. Oh no, they like Salah, Gakpo, Jota instead. Salah, Gakpo, and Jota. That is interesting. Trent, Robbo. They've got Curtis Jones as well. Joe Gomez, Van Dijk, Allison, McAllister, Gravenberch. Yeah, that is interesting. God, you could even potentially play like Chiesa off the bench. I don't know if I'm going that far. Never mind. But a Jota and a Darwin, I would play them off the bench if I had to. Especially if, the day doesn't go well for you. If you get to this point in the day and you need to just swing for the fences, you need a lottery ticket, you could do it. You could definitely throw them in there and potentially get a return from them. On the defensive side, Robertson's in, Trent's in, Virgil's in. Gomez has been bad. I mean, he's been the player himself, he's been great. He had one really shaky match. That was, I can't remember what match was that, where he was just bad. Newcastle. He was rough against Newcastle. He was great against Fulham. He was great against Tottenham. So yeah, we're not as defensively strong as we were. Obviously when we had Konate in there. But Gomez has been a decent stand-in. The problem is he's not been good for fantasy. He has not been good. And so we're left with this question of, okay, there's a decent chance we get a clean sheet here. Liverpool being we, sorry. My fandom's showing through. Decent chance, right? But if we don't, you probably will be disappointed with having started Gomez. We're projecting him for 9.8 with only 6.8 ghost points, meaning that, yeah, more or less, we are projecting a clean sheet here. But again, that's a tough one for me. That's a really tough one. I've picked him up in both of my leagues. What I'm doing, and I'll kind of just share this with you. What I'm doing is I've picked him up in both my leagues. He is my emergency option. If other guys that I normally depend on, Madueke, guys like that, who could potentially get rotated again or, not start, I will then go ahead and move in Gomez and be like, well, could be worse, right? Could be worse. So that's how I'm seeing him this game week. I don't see him as like a must start. I don't see him as a sure thing, certainly. Not even close. So yeah, that's where I'm at with him. All right. I guess we should talk Leicester briefly. Let's see. Our projections don't like any of them. No, I'm serious. Bonanote projected for 7.4, and that's if he even starts. He's been pretty rough recently. I've seen him on waiver wires in a lot of my leagues. Fantrax likes him, of course, they always do, but he hasn't been starting, and yeah, this could be a match where he does get the start because maybe they mix things up. But yeah, who really do you want to start here? McAteer? No. God, Fantrax has a weird ass lineup for Leicester. They're projecting Bonanote, McAteer, Bobby De Cordova-Reid, Danny Ward, Patson Daka, Harry Winks, Sumare, Christensen, Justin, Huthfas, and Connor Cody for the start. Okay. We have, as you guys can see, let's see, we have, oh, no, you can't see. Sorry. Hold on. Here we go. We have Christensen, Cody, Vestergaard, Foss, Bonanote, The Canoe, El Canoes, Winks, Sumare, Hamza Chowdhury, Mavididi, and Vardy. Maybe Mavididi for me. Maybe Mavididi. Maybe Bonanote. That's it. Close the book. Log out. Okay. I think it does it, y'all. that is going to conclude the Christmas Day stream here for me. Let me pop back in just to say hey. All right. I hope everybody has such great luck tomorrow. Yeah, if you listen to this between now on Christmas Day and tomorrow when Manchester City and Everton kick off early, you are a hero. Thank you so much for supporting us. Truly, we love you guys. Thank you all so much. And yeah, best of luck to everybody. Join that. Join Perfect 11. Do it. Join Perfect 11. Get out there. Make your lineup anybody you want. Pick your best players. How many teams have Salah in there? 100%? 90%? I don't know, whatever. He's been amazing. Anyway, love you guys. Merry Christmas. Happiest of holidays. And thanks again. Love doing this. And so happy, so glad, so blessed to have you all as audience members, listeners, and members of the draft community. Cheers.